Peace and love, everyone, and welcome to the Minister Supreme Show. I am your host, Minister Supreme, and this is the only show where how you feel doesn't change what's real. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button right there so you can stay in tune with the show, events, and everything else that we have to offer you. I'm not going to waste any time because this is season 1, episode 1 of the show, and we get into topics that most people do not like to talk about. It's unconventional, but it's intentional. Alright, so we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get right to our first topic, which is nature versus nurture. Alright, our first topic is nature versus nurture. And what I like to do on this show, what you're going to learn that I like to do on this show, is to pose a question at the beginning, present the subject matter itself, and then see if you still have the same answer you had in the beginning when the question was originally posed, right? Okay, so for this subject matter, nature versus nurture, the question that's going to be posed is simply this. Can you nurture a nature that you do not have yourself? Can you nurture a nature that you yourself do not possess? And you're going to understand why this subject matter is important to me as I tie it all in and relate it to black people right here in America. Okay, so what is nature? We're not talking about the land or the water or the beautiful smelling flowers in the fields and gardens and all that kind of stuff. No, we're talking about the inherent being, the characteristics of a thing, the essence of a thing, the nature of a thing, right? As opposed to nurture, which simply means to care for, to help grow and develop that thing, okay? Now, the question again that's being posed is, can you nurture a nature that you do not have? And to further analyze this topic, we have to travel back in time a little bit and go to 1953. I'm going here for a reason. In 1953, there was a little boy in Sierra Morena, which is in Spain in the southern part, in the mountain, peaky, hilly areas. And in 1953, in Spain, in Sierra Morena, there was a little boy, about 7 years old, who was abandoned and left to fend for himself in this area. Now, you may have heard of this story depicted in movies or through Disney and things of that nature, but this is the man who was raised by wolves. From the age of 7 to the age of 19, Mr. Rodriguez, his first name escapes me at the moment, but Mr. Rodriguez was self-proclaimed raised by wolves from the age of 7 to the age of 19. That's 12 years amongst wolves. They didn't eat him, they didn't kill him, they raised him, they protected him, they sheltered him. As such, he began to develop the characteristics of the species that was raising him. So with having no human contact, no one to speak human language to him, no one to cultivate, nurture his human development, what did he begin to do? He began to act as his nurturers, the wolves. So he began to howl and bark and walk on all fours and eat raw meat and things of that nature. And he lived like this for 12 years. And then afterwards, he gets rescued, brought back to civilization, and he has to relearn how to speak English. He has to relearn how to walk on 2 feet. He has to relearn how to be human. And even though he does relearn these things, he never, ever actually fully adapted to being human after spending that much time amongst wolves. Now, were wolves able to cultivate his nature? Of course not. His nature is human. Wolves can't culture humanity. They're wolves. So they were unable to cultivate his nature. However, they were able to cultivate and nurture a nature which is their own. Which is what brings me to this topic. Can you nurture a nature that is not your own? So what does a man who was raised by wolves and lost all connection to humanity have to do with black people here in America? I'm glad you asked. It's actually quite simple. The boy who was raised by wolves is black people here being raised by systemic white supremacy. And it only took 12 years for the boy to lose all connection to himself, to lose his language, to lose his human nature, and take on fully adapting the ways of his nurturer. And if that can happen to one person in only 12 years, think about what has happened to our people in 467 years. Okay? Language, belief systems, diet, entertainment, music, the way we move all together has been eradicated and at the same time appropriated for their own personal gain. And we're trying to mirror and mimic the ways of our nurturer, while our nurturer is taking our nature away from us and using it for profit. 467 years of this. And again, if a person can lose their way in 12 years, you can only imagine where we're at in 4 centuries. Now here's the thing about the wolves. They loved the boy. They loved the boy. Because if they didn't, they would have ate him. I mean, it's kind of common sense, right? They loved the boy. They nurtured him. They protected him. But they could not teach him his nature, even if they wanted to. So, even if people of European descent have all their good intentions when they adopt black children, have all their good intentions when they fight for black rights, they cannot relate or give a nature that they do not have themselves, even if they wanted to. See, what happens is this. When you teach a person a certain way long enough to make them behave in a certain pattern long enough, and you do this repetitiously and for generations, eventually this body of people will begin to do these things on their own without you having to enforce them. This is when your normalization has become nature, or what seems to be nature, because it's all that you know. It's been done over and over and over again, so it's all that you know, right? But this isn't your nature. But it's done enough for, on the outside looking in, it to seem like it is your nature, but it's just normalization. So, the question, can you nurture a nature that is not your own? My answer, no. You can nurture a nature, but it will not be theirs. It'll be yours. But that's just me. Who am I? I'm a host. My opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment. We'll be back right after this with pop culture and trending topics.
Peace and love. This is your girl Anonymous Earth, here with the Woman's Wisdom. Now this segment is when I pop in really quick for just a moment to give you a quick moment of discernment. And today we're talking about protecting yourself. Okay? We got 5 points that we're going to focus on. We're going to run through them, and we're going to start with the first one. The first one is put yourself first. Okay, look, listen. If you don't put yourself first, what is there? All right? You're important. You got to be the best you that you can be in order to provide for other people. Not only just for yourself, but for the people around you. And if you're not your best self, or you're not putting yourself first, you're spreading yourself too thin and you're diluted. We can't have that. Point number 2, okay? Create healthy boundaries for yourself and the people that are in your life, all right? Boundaries are limits, okay? A line. You see this? It's a line here, all right? They cross that line, you're crossing a boundary, all right? Gotta have healthy boundaries for yourself. Not everybody can say everything to you. Not everybody can do everything to you. And if you're willing to let those people do it to you, do what do you care about yourself? All right, point number 3. Learn to take accountability. Now, this is always a soft area because some people always feel like their doesn't stink But however, it does. And sometimes we have to sit back and be able to accept that. That's a part of protecting yourself. That's called a cover your hiney clause. All right? In the clause and book of Naughty Self-Care 101. Cover your tracks, okay? As long as you take accountability for it, what are you lying about? What are you hiding? You're being transparent. And we like transparent here. All right. Accept it and let it go. That's number 4. Listen, if you can't change it, you can't change it. And if you can't change it, then why ponder on it? Let it go. We can't woulda, coulda, shoulda a bunch of things in our life, okay? Certain things were meant to happen, certain things weren't meant to happen. And if your energy is intentional and you really want it and you really need it, you'll have it. Always remember that. All right, and the last one, always know when to say no. Listen, y'all. I'm a superwoman. I would love to do everything for everybody, but it's impossible, right? And sometimes being a nice person, you beat yourself up for not being available how you want to be available. And that's okay. Only supply the help that you are available to give, okay? Only be the best that you can be for other people. And if they can't accept that, accept it and let it go. This is A Woman's Wisdom. This is your girl, Anani's Earth. I'll be back next week. Tune in.
All right, we're back. And of course, you can't have a show without talking about trending topics and pop culture. And me personally, I'm not really a fan of pop culture, and I'll tell you why. We know that pop is short for popular, right? So pop culture in essence is popular culture, right? And what's popular can change virtually overnight. So it means the culture itself can change virtually overnight. So there's no real sustainability. There's nothing grounded there. It's just kind of like in the wind. But people tend to get a kick out of it. They like to stay in tune with what's going on in celebrities' lives and things of that nature. So I'm going to give you what you like, but just a different point of view of it. So the first thing that we're going to talk about in trending topics is, drumroll please, Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. I know. Okay, so Kanye West has been in the news and all over social media, spewing his thoughts and attacking anyone who has something to say about his marital issues that went sour with Miss Kim Kardashian, and it's not a good look. It really isn't, my brother. And granted, you have had a lot of things that happened in your life, because I watched the Netflix special. I did watch it. Good job, by the way. You've had some things that happened in your life that could constitute reasoning for some of the things that you have displayed. However, some things that they just cannot be excused with things that happened 10, 15, 20 years ago. Now, here's what I will say in Mr. West's defense after watching the docu-series rather. Let me take a look at my cards here, because I took notes, because you're supposed to take notes when you're in my position. So I took notes, right? I will say this. Note number 1. Miss Kardashian is no Donda. Miss West was practically the wings on Kanye's back from the time he was in the womb till he came out, till he took his first steps, till he decided to make music, to the day he got a Grammy. She was right there every step of the way. Knew every word to the songs. I mean, I did music for quite some time. My mama don't know my music. And she loves me, but she don't know my music. Okay? So, from me to you, brother, here is a message from the minister. Peace, brother. Whatever you're doing at this very moment, stop. Turn off the equipment, turn the car, jet, or whatever you're in around, and go visit Miss West. Sit with her. Listen to her. She'll guide you in the right direction, just like she always has. A lot of people want to see you fail, but not Miss West. She never did. Forget the albums, the divorce, the clothes, all of it. Go back to Garden City in OKC and listen. Just listen. So, I strongly suggest to my brother Kanye, fall back. Let the stuff breeze over. That's the thing about people, especially in Western and pop culture. All it takes is for something else to happen. You just fade the black, let something else happen, and everyone will forget all about it. Look at the baby. The baby was literally #1 cancel culture target, like what, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, or something like that. No one cares anymore. To the point to where they even issued not an apology, but a statement saying that the LBGTQIA plus, however many letters go after that, has now forgiven the baby for his actions. It can blow over, but not if you don't let it. Speaking of the baby, he will be performing right here in Lexington, Kentucky, April 28th at Rupp Arena.
I say Lexington, Kentucky, April 28th is going up at the Rupp Arena. I can't wait to see y'all. Boy, I fuck with Lexington, Kentucky. I'm to my everywhere. I fuck with Kentucky, boy. I can't wait to see y'all. I might try to call ESTGC and he could come out. Somebody like Jack Harlow or somebody else from Kentucky or something. I can't wait to see Kentucky on April 28th at the Rupp Arena. Bitches, baby, you know how the fuck I get it, homie. The live show killer.
All right, topic number 2, COVID-19. Where did it go? I don't know. That's right, it's in Europe now. There's a new strain supposedly coming out of Europe for COVID-19. COVID-19 come with new strains like No Limit came with albums. First and the 15th, it was a new album coming from No Limit. It's like a new, you got the Omicron, you got the Delta, you got the Beta, you got the Alpha, you got the Omega, you got every Greek organization there is possible with a COVID-19 attachment to it. You know, and my thing about COVID-19 is this. It's no different than any other pandemic that any generation has gone through. We will survive it. It's only as big as it is because we allow it to be as big as it is. It's only news because we make it news every day. Here's some news for you. South Korea has some of the largest numbers of COVID-19 cases that there is in the world, but they have the least death rate. How is that possible? To have the highest number of cases, but the least number of deaths. How is that possible? Think about it. Number 3, Ukraine versus Russia. Personally, I don't care. Okay, that was kind of harsh. I know, you're right. But what I'm saying is this. It's hard for me as a black man to invest my heart and sincere emotion and feeling into something happening to a people that has been happening to my people over and over and over again for centuries. And no one shines a light on what happens to us. No one is seeking solutions. No one is pushing for aid, and it's not a campaign being rallied behind for us to get that same type of relief when we're being attacked in a political war, when we're being attacked in a medical war, an educational war, a psychological war, a spiritual war, and we've been under attack in all these these fronts of war for the last 400 some odd years, 467 to be exact. So it's hard. It really is hard for a person like me to say, I care about what's happening in the war between Russia and Ukraine. But I will say this to my people who identify as Afro-Russian, which is about 50,000 or so people, primarily located in Moscow and St. Petersburg. Y'all be safe. Okay, here's the thing. We like to think that racism is a Western thing, but it's not. Anywhere you go in the world where black people or people of color are the minority and people of European descent are the ruling power, you find racism. Every single time. Every single time. So the question then lies in, is it in their nature to behave this way? Or have they been nurtured to behave this way? And if they were nurtured to behave this way, then who nurtured them? Afro-Russians, y'all be careful. Y'all be safe. Stay alive. Because no one is checking for y'all. Just like no one is checking for the WNBA basketball player over there. Y'all be safe. Y'all be careful. Alright? Be back after this. The Minister Supreme Show is brought to you by Lex Brand Names and Apparel, a division of Lex Brand Development. Lex Brand Names is our way of transforming symbols and images that currently exist in your everyday life into something more valuable, greater, and more meaningful. Lex Brand. They won't understand it until you Lex Brand it. Also coming in April, we have Project Meditate, which will be facilitated by Black and Recreations Community Collective. And we have here today Miss Anani Is Earth from the organization to tell you all about it. Take it away, Miss Nani.
Peace and love. This is Anani Is Earth here with you today to talk about Project Meditate. Project Meditate is presented by Black and Recreations Community Collective, a community collective that comes together with different businesses to build a safe environment for our Black youth. So this event will be free. It is also to teach people about meditation, how to channel inner peace, and also how to raise their vibrations. So come out and join us April 9th at 1 o'clock at Centered, okay? 309 North Ashland Ave. Don't be late.
Well, that about does it for the first episode of the Minister Supreme Show. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Glad you all were here. Hope you learned something new as well and were able to open your mind up in ways that you weren't able to before. Tune in next week. We'll be talking about the woke generation, cancel culture, and this thing called identity. I know, right? See you next time on the Mr. Supreme Show, where how you feel does not change what's real. Peace.